Hello everyone, I'm Steve Vislicel, creator of the Power of Partnership training program, where we teach consultants and solution sales teams how to build powerful partnerships so they create bigger deals and deliver smoother, more profitable projects. Today, I'm here with Marty Friedman, our Vice President of Consulting, to discuss one of the top 5 critical mistakes no consultant can afford to make.
Steve, one of the top 5 critical mistakes that no consultant can afford to make is what we call letting the clients have their way. Now, I think that sounds very counterintuitive because most of us think to sell and deliver work, we have to let clients have their way. So explain it to us. What does this mean?
You're absolutely right, Marty. I mean, this is counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
Because we've all been told over the year, you know, the customer is king. You know, let the customer have their way. The customer rules, right? And absolutely, you want to have a strong partnership with the customer. You want to, as much as you can, have them feel like they're in control. But there are exceptions to this. And what we're talking about today is a big exception to this. It's what we believe in all the many years we've been doing this. This is the bane of consulting organizations. And it's a little thing called scope creep, right? And if you've been consulting in any way, selling or delivering consulting over the years, you've dealt with this. It's the #1 threat to profitability, the #1 threat to the life balance of consultants. It's something that every consulting organization deals with, where you agree on a scope and then the scope changes and the client ignores it. They act like the deal was never made and they want to make changes without paying for those changes, and it's going to come out of your side. So this is really a challenging thing, and it's a challenging thing for 2 reasons. #1, in the realm of principles, is there's a big mindset change that's required if you're a consultant. And it's the idea that we have equal power with our clients, that it's really important for us to be a profit center, not a cost center, and that it's on us to really hold the line where we need to when the client is pushing a direction that's not really fair. And that is so counterintuitive to how most consultants are wired and how they've been trained. Secondly, even if we believe that, most of us don't have the skills to do that in an artful and graceful way that doesn't create a conflict where the client feels like we're making them wrong or trying to dominate them or trying to somehow inappropriately push back too hard. So this issue is a really strong issue, and what I want to talk to you a little bit about is something that we call hold the line.
I've heard the term, obviously, hold the line in other contexts like sports. I can imagine some consultants hearing that and thinking, yeah, hold the line.
Right.
So talk about how we teach that in the Power of Partnership.
Great. Well, you've really brought up the crux of it, right? Is that what we find is that people generally are on one side of this or the other. And the majority of people, if you really look at it, what they do is they avoid conflict too much for their own good. So the vast majority of people, one way or another, are uncomfortable with conflict. It's most of us, and especially in consulting. Consulting doesn't generally attract people who like conflict. Well, then there are those people who really thrive on conflict. They love conflict. They seek it out more than they should. And what people do is they tend to err on one side of this or the other. Now, if people are more conflict avoiding, what they do is when the scope creep comes, they look for ways to avoid the conflict and make the customer happy, to say yes, to basically give in. We take it on our side. Okay, yep, you're right, we'll do it. And then they go back to the organization and have to explain it, or they have to work overtime to try to get it done. But at the end of the day, it kills profitability. In the rare case, you have people who have had enough of that, and they say not only no, hell no. And they're waving the SOW in the client's face and pointing to the contract and saying, no way. Well, we all know neither of these approaches is going to work. So what we teach is how to find a balance between the yes and the hell no. And we call this the no and. And what no and is, it's a no with an invitation to work it out. So there's 3 key pieces of this. #1, you have to tell them no in a way that they actually understand that you've said no. You can't have that. #2, you have to commit to resolve their problems so they understand you're more committed to the partnership than you are to your profitability. You need to commit to, we're going to work this out. We'll find a way. #3, you need to invite them to a conversation around trade-offs, which is a negotiating conversation. The key to all of this is the sequencing. and how you put this together in a really smooth, elegant, graceful pattern where the client really feels that you're on their side and not trying to battle with them. And this is what we call hold the line.